Oh, thank you. Especially those visiting or returning after a time away. I'm Lori Strom, one of your representatives on our Board of Trustees. If you're a visitor, we hope you'll talk with our welcome team or visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org, to learn more about us. Our guest book or online contact page will help you get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to stay connected. We look forward to helping you become part of the Universalist Church. We're still dealing with the pandemic, and spikes are happening again due to holiday gatherings and group contacts. Since most people have been vaccinated, the risk of severe illness is still considered low. However, if you're unvaccinated or would prefer a mask, our ushers have some, and that we're happy to share with anyone wanting or needing one to be protected. I'm going to invite John up for an important announcement.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you all. My name is John Wheeler. Earlier this year at the annual meeting, Linda Myron, Dave Lee, and I reported on the results of several workshops we facilitated to assess how well, as a community, we are achieving the 5 tenets of our church vision statement. While the workshops were broadly positive, we learned there is more we can do in some areas. So the board has asked us to continue the work through 3 targeted after-church workshops in January. So we will be discussing on January 7th being a more eco-conscious congregation. On January 14th, we will be discussing being a beacon of liberal faith and universal love in the community. And on January 21st, we will be discussing being a more inclusive community. These focused discussions will help identify actions that we can take and program priorities for the Board of Trustees and the church staff so that we can better realize our vision, as well as potentially help prepare some of the groundwork for a future capital campaign. We invite you to join us in helping to set the direction of the church in these 3 important areas. You may participate in person or online, and feel free to join in one or more of the workshops. Please enroll online using the Breeze link in the weekly newsletter or the sign-up sheet on the bulletin board outside the church office. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Linda, Dave, or myself. So wishing you all a joy-filled Christmas and hoping to see many of you at a workshop in January. Thank you.
Thanks, John. After worship, we'll have fellowship in Fisk Hall and through Zoom. If you need help finding your way to Fisk Hall for our fellowship hour, any member of the church will be happy to guide you. Just look for someone wearing the Universalist Church name tag. You can find the link for Zoom in your weekly news or our Breeze calendar. If you aren't getting the weekly news, please sign up for it on our website. And now, I invite you to take a moment to make your mobile phone silent, turn off your email, put away your keyboards, and settle in for worship.
You might have noticed that Ray and Julia are not at the piano or the organ, but Kristen is here for us. Ray and Julia have COVID. So COVID is spiking in a lot of places in the state right now. So I ask you to be cognizant of that and to be very careful when you are gathering this week and in the weeks to come. We had several cases at the Wallingford Hospital this past week, and we had almost 60 staff not present because of COVID. So it's very real again. So Kristen has stepped in very lovingly and caringly and has melded her music to match Gaudete Sunday, which is Joyful Sunday. There are 2 Sundays of the year that I get to jump up and down and really be happy. They're my Sundays, Christmas and Easter, when the word joy is everywhere. So it's great. So welcome to all who are present here and all those joining us through cyberspace. As we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, please join us with lighting your home chalice or your home candles or whatever you do to be a part of our service. As we light this chalice today, this Sunday called Gaudete, the Latin word for rejoicing, we collectively bring our light to not only our chalice, but to this lovely pink candle over here as well. The Advent wreath respects the aspect of joy in the tradition that comes to us through many years. And just as our chalice and these 3 candles burn this week, may our lights continue to bring joy and delight into our daily chores, our daily encounters, our daily surprises, and our daily disappointments, because they're there too. Just as the light cannot exist unless there is darkness, so too, joy requires us to remain open to its opposite, even in the moments when we choose not to. May we remind one another that a spirit of joy is only present when balanced by a spirit of sadness or sorrow. And as we continue preparing in this marvelous season of lights, may we hold one another in our spheres of light with tenderness and compassion, celebrating the simple joys of having one another to hold. Our opening hymn is hymn 29 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or in spirit if you are willing and able in the sanctuary or wherever you are as we sing together. Hymn 29. join me now in speaking the words of our affirmation, our covenant, as printed in the order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
You may know us for like the soup making we do in the fall. We do support for our projects. We're actually going to take all these guys and we're going to go next door and we're going to actually assemble these little gift bags. So you'll be able to pick up these guys right across the hall after the service today. So thank you for your time. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we can sing.
Yes. Sing everyone out.
Sing everybody
Singing
out.
hymn number 413, Go Now in Peace.
Here we go. This way, guys. This way.
The voluntary offering, the sharing of our resources for our shared work as a religious community, is a spiritual practice for us. By offering your time, talent, and treasure to this community, you help us serve the members, friends, and wider community of which we are a part. As part of that service, we share our general offering each week with organizations that do the work in the world that brings us ever closer to creating the beloved community for which we aspire. This month, we share our offering with Prudence Crandall Center. Founded in 1973, the Prudence Crandall Center is dedicated to helping individuals achieve lives free of domestic violence by providing care, advocacy, support, and education. They are skilled, well-resourced, and compassionate providers of comprehensive, high-impact services to women, men, and children, and service 9 Connecticut towns, including Berlin, Bristol, Burlington, Kensington, New Britain, Plainville, Plymouth, Southington, and Terryville. Originally founded as the Prudence Crandall Center for Women, they are one of the few programs in the United States offering a unique combination of shelter, housing, and support services to address the long-term needs of victims. This agency strives to end domestic violence through its dedication to working with people who have experienced domestic violence on their behalf and in their memory. To give electronically, please use the QR codes on your order of service, the links in the description, or those on our website to make your donation to our offering. Here in the sanctuary, our offering will now be gratefully received. Please rise in body or spirit as we speak our congregational reading together, number 612, Fearful Joy. We're saying it all together. We're not splitting it out into Roman type and italics because it's short. Is it beyond thee to be glad with the gladness of this rhythm, to be tossed and lost and broken in the whirl of this fearful joy? All things rush on, they stop not, they look not behind, no power can hold them back, they rush on. Keeping step with that restless, rapid music, seasons come dancing and pass away. Colors, tunes, and perfumes pour in endless cascades in the abounding joy that scatters and gives up and dies every moment. Let us now join in singing our doxology together. As I mentioned earlier, there are several people who have had COVID this week, one of whom is Judy Bush. Therefore, the memorial service, the celebration of life for Anthony, her husband, will not happen today. That has been postponed until later in the new year. So let us hold in our prayers this day all in our community who are dealing with a recurrence of COVID in their households. May they all continue to take care of their health and their families so that healing comes quickly. Let us also, on this day of acknowledging joy, ask that all those feeling the impact of its opposite, depression, sadness, overwhelming feelings of grief and loss, feel supported and upheld by this community. May they experience the companionship of others to help support them during this time. Now let us also allow these spoken words, as well as the words we hold deep within ourselves, to be present with us in our shared silence this morning. As we move through the world this week, may we, each and every one of us, pay close attention to the wonders of this season as well as the woes of this season. May it be so. Please join now in singing Spirit of Life.
Our first reading is from Joy, 100 Poems, edited by Christian Wyman. This was written by Rainier Maria Rilke in a letter to Ilse Erdmann on January 31st, 1914. The reality of any joy in the world is indescribable. Only in joy does creation happen. Happiness, on the contrary, is only a promising and interpretable pattern of things already existing. Joy, however, is a marvelous increasing of what already exists, a pure addition out of nothingness. How superficially must happiness engage us, after all, if it can leave us time to think and worry about how long it will last? Joy is a moment, unobligated, timeless from the beginning, not to be held, but also not to be truly lost again. Since under its impact, our being is changed chemically, so to speak, and does not only, as may be the case with happiness, savor and enjoy itself in a new mixture. Our second reading is from the Book of Joy by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. It is taken from the chapter entitled The Nature of True Joy. In this excerpt, both the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop are in conversation. So, I really appreciate your coming to have this conversation, the Dalai Lama said. In order to develop our mind, we must look at a deeper level. Everyone seeks happiness, joyfulness, but from outside, from money, from power, from big car, from big house. Most people never pay attention to the ultimate source of a happy life, which is inside, not outside. Even the source of physical health is inside, not outside. It's very difficult to follow your very profound pronouncements, the Archbishop began. I thought you were going to say that, in fact, when you are pursuing happiness, you are not going to find it. It's very, very elusive. It's wonderful to discover that what we want is not actually happiness. It is not actually what I would speak of. I would speak of joy. Joy subsumes happiness. Joy is the far greater thing. Think of a mother who is giving birth. Almost all of us want to escape pain, and mothers know they are going to have pain, the great pain of having birth, but they accept it. And even after the most painful labor, once the baby is out, You can't measure the mother's joy. It is one of those incredible things that joy can come so quickly from suffering. I addressed the next question to the Archbishop. The joy that you are talking about is not just a feeling. It's not something that just comes and goes. It's something much more profound. And it sounds like what you're saying is that joy is a way of approaching the world. You are talking about something that is available right now without waiting for anything. The Archbishop considered his response carefully. I mean simply to say that ultimately our greatest joy is when we seek to do good for others. We are wired to be caring for the other and generous to one another. We shrivel when we are not able to interact. We depend on the other in order for us to be fully who we are. Unfortunately, in our world, we tend to be blind to our connection until times of great disaster. We give resources to help them because we realize that we are bound together. We are bound up and can be human only together.
I stand before you today aware that yesterday was a brilliantly sunny day. I walked through this sanctuary and light was streaming in from every window. But today, the sun is absent and will be covered continually for at least, according to the weather people, the next 24 hours, and perhaps even be overcome by dark rain clouds and tons of rain. I am also aware that earlier in this very sanctuary, the piano below me and the organ up in our choir loft was being played in a practice session, so that a truly joyful noise shared by Ray and Julia in concert would be part of our service today. And then, that did not come to be. It changed from Friday evening to Saturday morning, and today we were gifted with Kristen and her musical talents and flexibility. I'm also aware on this day that a ceasefire requested by multiple European nations, Pope Francis and the United Nations itself, did not happen. And that at this hour, the Palestinian and Israeli peoples are experiencing enormous suffering and simultaneously preparing for one of that region's most sacred times of their religious year. So, I stand here aware that every single one of you could come up with examples of how that which we pay attention to, plan for, or are an active participant in planning, collaborating, or calling to come forth can change rapidly, sometimes imperceptibly. The joy of preparations, then, can be transformed into the sadness of loss, of unanticipated change. The joy of laughter can burst immediately into tears. A major discovery can switch into deep feelings of fear. And yet, without all aspects, all facets of that elusive emotion of joy, would true joy abound in our lives, in our relationships, in our family gatherings? Thus, the question I put forth for you today is a simple one. Does joy really abound? Do you allow yourself to remain open to see its manifestation even in the darkest corners of your life? Does the dullness or routineness of your daily grind block out the glorious brightness of the twinkling lights or the marvelous laughter that is embedded in the daily living that surrounds you? This third Sunday of Advent holds a pink candle in the Advent wreath everywhere one is lit on this day. One of my dearest friends sent me a note on Friday to remind me that Mary really, really, really wanted a girl child. Her note was tongue-in-cheek, but it was a reminder for me to bring the feminist perspective into the Advent ritual today, hence the pink candle. Therefore, as I prepared for today's sharing, I was laughing. I decided to place my emphasis on exactly how and why the elusive emotion of joy manifests itself in our lives. And just as we lighted this pink candle without knowing the possible alternative way of viewing its pinkness, I wanted us to think about how we might view joy with perhaps differing lenses when it appears in our lives. In a book titled Nurture the Wow by Dana Ruttenberg, which, by the way, I highly recommend for parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents to read, the author has multiple ways to honor the potential joys in the process of parenting or grandparenting. In viewing the mystical tradition, the Jewish mystical tradition primarily, and some of those writers the author highlights, the idea of the holy sparks that is part of the Jewish tradition, the sparks that call us to the transcendent in our lives, she writes, we know that we constantly aspire to raise the holy sparks. We know that the potent energy of the divine model, the splendor at the root of existence, has not yet been actualized in the world around us. The scattered light stammers in the entirety, mouthing solidarity symbols that combine into a dynamic song of creation. The author then writes this reflection. In other words, everything in the world and every action we take has an aspect of the sacred within it that can be unveiled and added to the dynamic song of creation. How does one do this, the author asks? And she responds, as with Buddhists, for the Kabbalists, it's all about intention. Are we eating and drinking to gobble and glug? Or are we bringing a sense of blessing, a gratitude for the sustenance that we are lucky to have, and a humble awareness of its source? Are we washing dishes in order to get done with an annoying chore and get to the dessert we're craving? Or are we washing with a sense of awe at the warm soapiness in our hands and a will to link this action with the great dance of life unfolding around us in our kitchen? Can we even hear the love and longing from the pint-sized voice screaming in our ear for our attention as we try to clean up the food on the floor while also wrangling a squirming baby? Can we find the holy spark inside that action of picking up those half-chewed peas? When we offer up the peas, the dishes, the diapers, the smelly laundry as spiritual service, when we conceive of our homes as monasteries, when we commit to doing routine work as an intrinsic part of the care we provide for our families, we bring holy sparks into the world. When we conceive of our repeat performance of The Night Before Christmas, or Frozen, or The Very Hungry Caterpillar, not as a burden but as a mantra, we can reconnect to the great love that binds us to our children and our and our great-grandchildren, to everything that lives, and perhaps even to that elusive transcendent that we search for. We are transformed for the good in the process of recognizing the holy sparks among us, the pink candles, the twinkling lights. In another book titled Radically Happy, the authors provide very practical step-by-step ways to build radical happiness, which they equate with joy, by the way, that deeper emotion, into your daily life. So, I recommend you check that book out. The books are very available in almost every one of our lovely Connecticut library system. What I want to share, however, is a couple statements made by these authors in that book. They note, learning to be radically happy should lead to an all-pervasive sense of contentment, or at the very least help you welcome more joy into your life, which does not mean I'm coming over for Christmas. Radical happiness isn't an endpoint, but a continuous process, a way of engaging life fully. It is something each of us can learn, participate in, sometimes struggle with, and always laugh about. Within the book's pages, you have multiple opportunities to spend just 5 minutes at moments when you take a break to increase that sense of contentment. We all can do that by merely paying attention to our own breath or saying thank you to yourself for being who you are. When you brush your teeth in the morning, do you thank yourself for being up? It's a wonderful thing to do. It's a great way to start the morning. Or allowing yourself that moment to acknowledge you did a good deed or said a kind word. We often give others advice about quote, taking good care of yourself. Please, take good care of yourself. I don't know how many times a day I say that. However, I don't truly experience the joy of taking good care of myself because I don't challenge myself to do that. We all need to do that. It fills us with a joy that we can share. Joy, then, causes us to be intentional, to engage with our surroundings, to pay attention and to reach out from within the core of our being. Joy is a transformational emotion, and as such, a holy aspect of our humanity. May each of you, as you prepare for the wonders of solstice, Christmas, Kwanzaa, as well as any other gatherings you might be attending this coming week, take the time to allow the holy sparks of joy to transform your everyday life and to make your moments glad. May it be so. And please join me now in singing the closing hymn, hymn number 298. Wake Now My Senses. We're singing only the first three verses. Let us speak now our unison benediction. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Please remain seated for the postlude. Don't forget to go to Fisk Hall and enjoy one another.